But when she started dropping, we started with different kinds of got an answer. They took her to one hospital. They did an interview or something, an MRI or something. They can help her. She's got a little other. So they took her to another hospital. About her. And it looks big. He said that the moment you touch it, your body will the moment I touched it. If that happened at any other time, she would have probably been gone or way out. So he said it was just a miracle.
Yeah, we'll just do it.
Yeah, just
do.
Oops, Mr. Moto.
Just to Mr. Moto.
Yeah.
Just to Mr. Moto.
The top to Mr. Moto.
Yeah, just to Mr. Moto.
Ready?
Yeah.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the Java and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup. Good morning. Buenos dias. And welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information, and inspiration. My name is Peter Myers. I've been a member of First UU since 1990. My late wife, Marguerite, and I joined the church after hearing about it through a Texas Public Radio sponsorship. We were active in circle dinners, Great Decisions, crop walks, and the Refugee Aid Project. Our 3 adult children grew up in this church, were active in Sunday school, and completed our Whole Lives program. In 2007, our family stopped attending church services and started playing soccer on Sunday mornings. I played in adult leagues while our children were in the youth leagues. Marguerite served as the team nurse. When COVID hit in 2020, soccer stopped as well as almost everything else. A few months later, Marguerite was diagnosed with cancer, which she ultimately succumbed to. Beginning in January, I resolved to rejoin the church, although I never officially dropped out. Since then, I've been attending church regularly and plan to do so until I relocate to Denver for the summer, where I work as an usher for the baseball team, the Colorado Rockies. You'll find me at Gate C. Later in the service, I will discuss my involvement with member and pastoral care. It's good to be back at First UU. So let us begin by recognizing the early name of this place, Yanawaga, the traditional lands of the Colatecan people. They and all the plants and animals were the original stewards of this land. Let us remember their care and live with the understanding that we belong to this place. At our church, we strive to enact a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice, for all and for all our planet. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all. If you are new to us or visiting us for the first time today, we welcome you to fill out a visitor's card. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find your place with us. With that in mind, let's turn to our neighbors and greet each other. Thank you.
You know, I've had people come here and say, I kind of want to go to that church, but I don't know that I want to talk to anybody else. And I go, Sounds familiar. I think a lot of UUs are inherently introverted. But getting you all to greet your neighbors doesn't seem to be that much of a problem, except for the ones of you for which it is. So you know how we are around here. We each believe differently, but we gather together as one. You know, we've been talking about the land acknowledgement for several years here. That's what Peter said about the original name of this place being called Yanawana, and that we were basically inhabited by a band of different tribes, and they're all gathered under the name Coahuiltecan. They are truly, as far as we can trace, the original stewards of this land. And they are still connected by many descendants in our neighborhoods and in our communities. And last fall, our Community Responsibility Endowment Fund, which we call CREF, made an award to this indigenous group called the American Indians in Texas at the Spanish colonial missions. Do any of you remember Ramon Vasquez came and he led the land acknowledgement that day? Well, I've been over to their place on East Commerce. A number of you have. This organization, the American Indians of the Spanish colonial missions, was founded in 1994 by the top Pilam Coahuiltecan nation that populated South Texas and northern Mexico. I just want to say that we just don't want to say these words on Sunday without having some relationship with the indigenous people. So those of you who are interested, please talk to me about it, and I'd be glad to go over there with you to their wonderful center where they've got indigenous art, and they do rituals and different kinds of classes. Let's have a relationship with the original stewards of this land and their descendants, and don't just say a few words at the beginning of our service. Whether you know it or not, we're the most progressive of all the Protestant groups. And in spite of that, many UUs may have minimized the efficacy of certain aspects of what I call the inherent wholeness of life. And part of that, to me, has to do with prayer and healing touch and an acknowledgement of the mystical. So I ask you today, are UUs confined to seeing through the lens of rationalism, humanism, and naturalistic thinking? Today, I want to address some mystical dimensions of life. And speaking thereof, when I was growing up, I used to start my prayer with Mother God, Father God. I don't know if any of you all used to do that. I was raised Catholic, so we had this Virgin Mary thing, which was like, she was the fourth person of the Holy Trinity. So we're going to sing a hymn, number 8, in your gray hymnals. I ask you to rise in body or spirit, and Jaime will lead us in Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. very much. Please be seated. Jaime, would you like to come across from that magnificent Steinway to this magnificent organ? Jaime's going to play the organ for us today.
The flaming chalice unites our members in worship and symbolizes the spirit of our faith. We light this chalice to begin this morning's time of shared harmony as we tune into the flame that unites our differing personal rhythms and feelings. For we as a community long to experience our unity and harmony in making music in life, together with our varying and diverse lives. May we be as one.
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all are welcomed as blessings. Let us recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. And in Español, el amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. Su sacramento es la búsqueda de la verdad. Y su oración es el servicio, convivir en paz, buscar sabiduría en libertad, dar a la humanidad nuestro servicio fraternal, para que todas las almas crezcan en armonía con la divinidad. Así pactamos el uno con el otro. Bien. the revered words of Chief Seattle, this we know: what we do to the land, we do to ourselves. It's time to look at our lives, and I invite all of us to enter into your hearts and minds in a very intentional way. And for some of us, especially those who are experiencing disappointments, sadness, or grief, this can be a challenging time. To connect with what you're feeling. And if you're comfortable, we invite you to come forward and light a candle, or more than one candle, to give silent voice to all that you're carrying in your heart. Please come on forward. Light these candles with the intention that the light will move us toward a deeper understanding of our lives and the hope that we will become more loving and accepting. Come down the side aisles and return up the center aisles. Jaime, thank you for playing this meditation music. Our book is now called the Book of Life's Reflections. And the first reflection comes from a person who writes, "I'm split from my son and my grandchildren. It breaks my heart. I am working on this, but it's beyond my humble hands. And I would appreciate positive energy sent my way to help with that. Thank you." So for those of us who wish to do that, let's send this person our positive energy for reconciliation, healing. Sorrow and alarm on reading about the escalating violence in the Middle East. Please pray for the innocent, starving children in Gaza and for those who work toward peace and justice. I think we can probably all agree with that. Thank you for that intention. And finally, in celebration of Eddie Vega being invested as our next San Antonio Poet Laureate tomorrow, congratulations, Eddie. Yeah. For all that we think and feel and do, may we demonstrate empathy and compassion. And may the caring of our community offer a space of deep kindness, loving, and just actions. With that in mind, I'd like to read a poem by the late John O'Donohue entitled "For Presence." Awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. Have joy and peace in the temple of your own senses. Receive encouragement when new frontiers beckon. Respond to the call of your gift and have courage to follow its path. Let the fire of anger free you of all falsity. And may warmth of heart keep your presence aflame. And may anxiety never linger about you. May your outer dignity mirror the inner dignity of your heart. Take time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention. Be in the symmetry of your life. May you experience each day as a sacred gift woven around your heart of wonder. Take a deep breath with me, and let's go into a few seconds of silence. Breathe in. Release it. Keep breathing in and breathing out. May all of this be so. Blessed be. Amen. Reverend Art Severance, our Minister Emeritus. What say you today, brother?
Good morning. And it's time for children to come up and gather round if you would like to. People of all ages. I'm very pleased that my youngest daughter, Elizabeth, and her daughter, my granddaughter, Joy, join us this morning. Got to balance the sides, right? Sure. Well, welcome everybody. How are you all this morning? All right. I want to talk about grief. Anybody know what the word grief means? Yes.
Basically, like, you're sad.
Very good. Yeah. And grief is usually because of something that's happened, or somebody has died, or you missed a test, or a variety of things. So I want to talk a little bit about grief. From a Buddhist perspective, Buddhism is an Asian religion, and we have a lot of things in common with them. And the Buddha was a great sage, a wise person. And he has a story called the mustard seeds, which, because I know you know your Bible, you probably recognize as a Christian tale where Jesus said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, then you shall come forth. Because mustard seeds are very small, but when planted, they grow into a big bush. And if, like me, you need mustard on your hot dogs, mustard is very important. Okay, this has nothing to do with hot dogs, though, so get that out of your mind. So the story is that a young woman who had just had a baby lost the baby. The baby died. And she was so grief-stricken. She was so sad. She didn't know what to do. So she picked up the body of the baby and went to her neighbor and said, "Can you help me? My baby has died. Can you bring it back to life?" Can you bring back something after they've died? No. So she went to the next house and said the same thing, and they finally said, "You know, I think you need to talk to the Buddha. He is a wise person and will give you something to think about." And so she found the Buddha, and she said, "Oh, Buddha, can you bring my baby back to life?" And he said, "Well, if you will go to a neighbor's house, any neighbor, and get some mustard seeds and bring them to me, I will see what I can do." And she thought, "Oh, that's easy." He said, "But it must be a house that death has never visited." In other words, where no one has ever died in that house. Well, imagine how crowded the world would be if no one ever died. Okay? But this is in a place where houses are very old and families live in them for generations. How many people here have a great-grandfather that's alive? You have a great-grandfather that's alive? Okay. So she went to the first house and she said, "Oh, can you please help me? I need some mustard seeds to save my baby." And they said, "Oh, sure." She said, "But no one can have died in this house." And of course, what do you think the woman said? "Oh, someone, my grandparents died in this house. She said, oh, you can't help me. So she went to the next house, and she said the same thing. And as you can imagine, the same thing happened. And someone, in fact, said, oh, you know, I lost my baby too. And I'm very sad still about it. And they talked about it for a little bit. And for some reason, she felt better. And then she went to the next house and found the same thing, of course. For every one of us have somebody that has died in our family because of grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. So we all have experienced death, and we all probably have experienced some sort of grief. There is no magic way to cure grief, is there? When you're sad, it's okay to be sad. So never let anybody tell you, oh, you shouldn't be sad. I mean, they're trying to help. They're trying to say, cheer up. And I don't know anybody who has ever cheered up by someone saying, cheer up. To you, usually what happens is that it makes you even sadder because you feel somehow like, oh, there's something wrong with me that I can't get over this sadness. But sadness is something that's also important to us because sadness, you see, shows love. It shows that we loved that person. And guess what? That love does not die. Okay? Just like, will you ever stop loving your mom and your dad? Well, wait till you're 13. But besides that, no, we think of these people we love. I came to this church in 1991. I know you've never heard of that date, and that's 1,000,000 years old to you. But I remember the first memorial services a long time ago. Yeah. So it's always important what I talk about in the memorial services are remember that love. And think about how, in a sense, the grief helps us remember that love. And always remember that talking about it helps as well. Okay? The end. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, let's sing our children out. Jaime? May the road you travel guide you safely. May a friend be always at your side. May the love you find here in this moment guide your way and fill you with delight. Que sea seguro tu camino, que un amigo esté siempre a tu lado, que el amor que sientes este momento te guíe, te llena de placer. Thank you so much. Thank you, Reverend Art, for telling us that beautiful, poignant story, straight from the heart. It's time for our invitation to generosity. Each week, our church has many opportunities to serve as a beacon of hope, love, and justice. And we take an offering. So let's take a moment now to give to our missions and ministries. And for those of you viewing online, we invite you to make a contribution on our website. And in the sanctuary, we invite our ushers to come forward with the baskets. Please do so. And we will be entertained here with a wonderful song. It seems like at this hour of the morning, many of us are needing another cup of joe. You know what I mean by that? Coffee, our Unitarian Universalist communion. What do you guys have to say about that, huh?
I love tea. I love the Java and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java in me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoops, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot me the pot and I'll pour me a shot. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. So slip me a slug from the wonderful mug, and I'll cut a rug till I'm snug in the jug. A slice of onion on a raw one. Draw one. Waiter, percolator. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the Java and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Boston beans, soybeans, lima beans, string beans. I'm not keen for a bean unless it is a cherry coffee bean. I love coffee, I love tea. I love the Java and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the Java in me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoops, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot me the hot and I'll pour me a shot. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. So slip me a slug from that wonderful mug, and I'll cut a rug till I'm snug in the jug. A slice of onion on a raw one. Draw one. Waiter, percolator. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the Java and it loves me. Coffee and tea and the jiving in me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Java jive. Java jive. Java jive. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
Oh, my goodness gracious, that's terrific. Thank you so much. We bless these gifts as we bless the givers. Thank you. I'd like to invite Peter back up to the microphone to give us a little personal reflection.
On January 23rd, we received the following email from Pat Beck of the member care team. Dear caring community, former longtime member and choir member Larry Loden has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and has started hospice this week. Larry isn't able to have visitors, but would appreciate cards and letters, as well as brief telephone calls. Thank you to those who know Larry and are able to send him a note, so he knows that we are keeping him in our thoughts now. I had known Larry and his family for over 30 years. We talked at church and saw each other frequently at theater, where he usually played in the band. Larry could play any instrument, or so it seemed. We hadn't seen nor talked to each other in quite some time, but the memories of our past together were still strong. I called Larry's ex-wife, Jean, and asked where his family was located. And she said everyone was out of state. She was in South Carolina, their son Scott was in Georgia, and Sarah, their daughter, was in Virginia. I called Larry and asked what I could do for him. He said he wanted to first be relieved of his pain, and then return to church to say goodbye, particularly to his friends in the choir. The following month, And that is what I did. Larry died a month later. Why? Why did I do it? Because that's what a loving, compassionate community does. My wife, Marguerite, died last March after battling breast cancer for over 27 years. When she was first diagnosed with advanced cancer in 1996 and faced a radical mastectomy, she was 39 years old. Our children were 6, 4, and 2. Our world had come crashing down. Both of our families live well over 1,000 miles away, hers in British Columbia and mine in New York. They could support us from afar, and they came for brief periods of time. But who would be here for the long haul? The church. In particular, our women warriors, Kathy Severance, Suzanne Rupp, Peggy Lippert, Mark K. Cheney, Marilyn Stavanoa, Janet Jones, Rowena Rogers, Olivia Eisenhower. The list went on and on. They brought food. Boy, did they bring food. I told Suzanne if she brought any more food, she had to bring a deep freeze. They took our children out to activities, took them to McDonald's, to Playland, to movies. A couple had them overnight. They visit us at home and in the hospital and at the CTRC where Marguerite received chemotherapy. Member care is what they did and what this church does. It's what we do best. In 2008, 12 years later, Marguerite's cancer returned, and the church was there again. Surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and recovery, and the outpouring of love and care continued. In 2020, Marguerite's cancer returned a final time, and it was inoperable. It was the height of COVID, but the church was there. Cards, calls, letters, gift cards, food, member care. It's what we do best. When Marguerite died on March 11, 2023, and the service was held 2 weeks later, member care led the way to provide for a wonderful reception, one that I will always be grateful for. So when I read that Larry Loden was sick and had little time left, it was my turn to step up. As Maury Schwartz told his former student Mitch Albom, as he was dying of ALS in the marvelous book, Tuesdays with Maury, the way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others. To devote yourself to your community around you. And devote yourself to create something that gives you purpose and meaning. Member and pastoral care is here for you and your loved ones. It's what we do best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Straight from the heart. So grateful to have you. One of the most helpful ways I've found in understanding the mystery and the meaning of life is as a journey into wholeness, which also means wellness. For a number of years, I've challenged my fellow UUs to recognize the importance of mysticism and spirituality as vital parts to the path to wholeness so that we can build a more holistic and inclusive practice for the future of our beloved community. Now, a recent Pew Center report notes that 50% of persons who identify themselves as mainline Christians report having experiences of self-transcendence. And so the fact that 1 out of every 2 mainstream Christians has an encounter with what I would call the great mystery suggests that a holistic theology or faith must consider mysticism and spirituality seriously. Now, these can include words that are perhaps more comfortable Let me give you a few descriptions of these for those of us who are agnostic, atheist, humanist, pagan. Words like awe-inspiring, or the joy of life, or the grandeur of life, or the fascination of human experience. Now, as the most progressive of Protestant groups, UUs have minimized the efficacy of certain aspects of inherent wholeness, such as prayer and healing touch, and even an acknowledgment of the healing ministry of Jesus. Are these only to be seen today through the lens of modernist, rationalist, humanist, and naturalist thinking? For sure, we exercise legitimate pushback to what many have experienced as the antics of television faith healers. But let's not reject these practices altogether. After all, as Peter just shared with us, and as Art told in his story of the Buddha, we've got a lot of work to do with one another, which is a very popular ministry of this church. Today, I'd like to address a mysterious frontier for many of us, including these areas. For some of us in the 21st century who are interested in healing and wholeness, we might have read the words of holistic physicians such as Larry Dossey, Deepak Chopra, or Herbert Benson to discover the connection between faith and spirituality and healing. Anyone in here familiar with these three writers? Yeah, there's a few hands. UUs ourselves have written very little or nothing about complementary medicine, despite the fact that many of us practice or receive holistic modalities such as chiropractic, acupuncture, massage therapy, or have practiced qigong or tai chi or yoga, therapeutic touch such as Reiki. Anybody had experiences with those modalities? A few more hands. Yeah, feels good. Still, for many progressives, the healing associated with Jesus remains an alien phenomenon, identified with supernatural or magical explanations and the bombastic theatrics of televangelists. I suspect that many in this room would agree with the conclusions of the leading progressives, such as former Catholic priest and Irish-American scholar John Dominic Crossan. In Jesus, a Revolutionary Biography, Crossan clearly denies that Jesus' ministry involved curing physical ailments. He denies this. After noting the distinction between healing and curing and illness and disease, Crossan writes this, quote, "This is the central problem of what Jesus was doing in his healing miracles. Was he curing disease, like leprosy, by an intervention in the physical world? Or was he healing the illness through the intervention in the social world?" Unquote. Crossan also writes, "I assume that Jesus, who did not and could not cure that disease, or any other one, healed the illness by refusing to accept the disease's ritual uncleanness and social marginalization." It sounds more UU there. That in itself would seem to me to be the miracle, considering the social ostracization, the prejudice of lepers in Jesus' time. So there's much to commend in the understanding of Jesus' healing ministry as a political and sociological phenomenon. Crossan asks, what if we take a more holistic approach to those questions and answer yes to both healing and curing, both social and physical transformation. We talk about serving the marginalized, and we want to be in relationship with them, to be proximate to them, to befriend them, to connect with them, to love them. We have many marginalized people in this room right here. And after listening to the testimony of Peter, we know the value of connecting and of relationship. What if Jesus' healing ministry transformed cells as well as souls? What if it changed the physical body as well as the body politic by activating deeper creative energies residing in the universe? Some view this as the divine-human partnership, others as a reflection of the creative energies that brought forth and continue to bring forth the evolution of the universe. I think we all very much hope that we are evolving, but when we look to the concerns that are brought to us in our book of life's reflections, it sometimes seems like we're going backwards. Anthropologists have investigated the early stages of human evolution in indigenous cultures, including the Hawaiian kahuna systems that speak to the evolution of human consciousness. They base their understanding on the theology of animism, which is a religious belief that attributes the presence of soul, or in Latin, anima, as the conscious and life-giving dimension in sentient beings, whether animal, vegetable, or mineral. Perhaps animism is a little too woo-woo for many UUs, yet I find some value in considering these words of the groundbreaking psychologist Abraham Maslow. You know about Maslow, a hierarchy of being and all that? He wrote in 1964, "The Unitarian Universalists leave out too much that is precious to most human beings. They make no place in their systems for the mysterious, the unknown, the unknowable, or the ineffable, the inexact, the metaphorical, the mythic, the ambiguous. Those are all considered lower and therefore not good. That is something to be improved toward rationality and logic. No wonder that liberal religions exert so little influence, even though their members are among the most intelligent and the most capable sections of the population." Maslow continues, "It will be so as long as they base themselves on a lopsided picture of human nature," unquote. In Star Trekian terms, we're sometimes referred to as the Spocks. Well, here's my challenge to us as Unitarian Universalism. We need to go beyond mere modernist mind-body dualism to a more holistic, relational, constructive, postmodern approach to healing and wholeness. We're all challenged to consider the possibility that Jesus was able to achieve what today's many holistic and spiritual healers claim to regularly achieve: the transformation of a whole person through healing touch, the anointing with oil, the intentionally spoken prayer, the laying on of hands, the visit with the ministers. Let's not separate mind and body, sacred and secular, person and environment, spirituality and social transformation. A truly holistic theology will affirm the insights of complementary and mind-body medicine that goes hand in hand with the new contemporary physics. We are part of one whole, interdependent reality in which spirituality can shape embodiment, and embodiment can shape spirituality. As UUs, progressives, and those considering the worth of holistic life, we don't need to choose between these things. We can say both and. One of the most popular parts of our Sunday service is the candles of life, as we are calling it today. It's a ritual that has meaning to us, that touches us deeply, that affects us, that helps us to grow. And indeed, Jesus invited his followers to do greater works than he. He may have invited all who follow his teachings, both knowingly and unknowingly, to take the lead in promoting medically affirming healing ministries that join high touch with high tech in responding holistically to persons, societies, and the entire planet that is in need of real and deeper connection. Let's listen, let's learn, let's grow. Can I get a blessed be? Blessed be. Thank you. I think we may have an error on our orders of service, so I want to encourage us to turn to our gray hymnals to number 324. 324, and rise in body or spirit, and let's sing a song by our dear deceased member, Alicia Carpenter, who wrote these words, "Where my free spirit onward leads." Please be seated. We'll wrap it up now, but first I want to extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, or the warmth of our care, or the fire of our commitment. These burn within us until we meet again. Heather Hedwick is the president of our congregation, and she has some words to say.
Hello again. All right, yes, my name is Heather Heckquist, and I am the president of the board. And Mark, Reverend Mark, has generously made an offer to the board to shorten his contract by 2 months in order to help with our current budget. After board discussion and agreement by Reverend Nell, the board has accepted this offer. Reverend Mark will now retire on May 31st. During his time here, Reverend Mark has been a caring minister, rebuilding covenant and helping the congregation, helping the congregation move into the future. I hope you join me in thanking him for supporting, educating, and stretching us during our time together. More details to come as we celebrate Reverend Mark and his well-earned retirement. Thank you.
Surprise. Carolyn knows that every Sunday I eagerly awake early and get over here as soon as I can because I love being with you. And I think you know that. So it's going to be a quick wrap up now, these last couple of months together. And I look forward to every moment that we can share. And to a wonderful annual meeting on May the 19th when who knows what the board will come up with for us. But please, thank you so much for your warm acceptance. For Carolyn and me, we've been through it here, haven't we, together. And we love you and we honor you. Thank you.